Welcome to Road Adventures of Cycling Men of Leisure. As usual, I am Adam. And guess what? Not only is my good friend from Central Time Zone, Michael Sharp, but we have a friend of the show, Executive Director Franklin Johnson, with us. Hey, how are both of you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I'm
Franklin,
excited to have Franklin back on. This will be good.
this is going to be really good. This is a much anticipated interview. For me, I thought about it all day long, and I'm excited. Now, it does ruin one thing, even though this is coming out afterwards, but it kind of takes away that midnight watching that video that you put out. And a couple of years, I would sit and watch that video. So we are talking about Big Brag 2025. Before we get there, Franklin, how you doing?
I am better than I deserve. But before we get started, I'm a big fan of the number one podcast in the world, which is you guys. But the second biggest podcast in the world is the Joe Rogan Experience. And he always starts off guests with a glass of whiskey. And you guys being as whiskey centric as you are, I've got two options, but I don't know how I feel about it because, you should offer me whiskey and you're wondering how you did that from so far away. But this is actually the Cycling Men of Leisure whiskey from Big Brag 2024. And you can see it's unopened. This holds a special place in my heart. So I don't know if I should open this. Or I also have this nice Suntory 12-year that my wife gave me for our 12th anniversary, also unopened because it also holds a special place in my heart. So I don't know what I should drink for this interview.
Heather's pretty special. I would not be hurt if you went with the Japanese Suntory as a man who
that is a really, really good bottle too. And maybe just maybe you do that and then you can say, hey, look, did this for you. I was thinking about you.
Here it is. This is we'll cheers to Heather for this one. 12 years age for our 12th anniversary.
I'd love now for those of you who don't know, Franklin has become not only a friend but also a friend of the show. We have been lucky enough to meet Heather, and we have also followed you on social, and you're a video guy and you love to do your drone videos and your vacation videos, and I have taken a personal liking in watching your family and your vacations, and so I don't know how your wife does it, but you have a family of kids, and she looks amazing. And your family pictures recently looks like her hair came out of a perfect magazine. So you're a lucky man, sir. So
wow, you now have a new best friend. He loves the hair and gets a lot of compliments on it. So you now hold a special place in her heart for sure.
And we have met everybody in your family, all the kids, except you've got a new one that's what, 8 months old, 9 months old now?
I guess when this comes out, she'll be 6 months old. So
okay,
yeah, little Ari, she's precious and cute, and family's growing, so it's exciting.
Awesome, well, glad to hear that.
Just a little fact: you almost got pulled away from Big Brag 2024, thinking that you were on call at any moment, at any time. You might have been pulled away, but you didn't. You were actually home almost a week, I think, after Big Brag.
So she was due mid-June. I think she was due June 15th or 16th or something like that. But third kid, sometimes they come early. The body knows the process and can get started early sometimes. So, yeah, I was very nervous. And we overstaffed, and I had way more people there than we needed. And kind of gave everybody the rundown of, hey, if you see me running to the truck and hop in and burn out getting down the road to Atlanta, just know that I'm not coming back. So,
just a good boy.
Yeah, luckily she came on the 14th, and I was able to make it all the way through Bragg, which was good. So
awesome.
And now, better than that, her birthday isn't in the middle of Bragg every year, so that's even better.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that would be like, well, honey, I'm sorry. We'll have to celebrate your birthday when we get home. So,
So I've got to ask, you've opened the bottle. How's the pour?
It's very good. I haven't had time to savor it as well since I'm trying to concentrate on talking to you lovely fellas,
sure.
but it's very good.
Good.
Well, I can talk to Michael while you enjoy it. I mean, I haven't.
And I've got a little here. I'm actually drinking the Riegers that you showed the bottle of. So, we've got it represented also here too. Good. So, but
Kansas City.
That's right. Kansas City style whiskey right
And
there.
on Monday, I had a surprise. For my job, every year I have to go to a drug and alcohol conference, which, okay, that's about as much fun as going to a dentist. But
Do they give samples or?
no, that's
Oh,
the
okay.
worst part. Last year, my coworker and I were in the elevator, and it was a very staunch, very, very boring thing. We were all in the elevator. We were at Atlanta Hilton, and all of a sudden, I actually reached out to Franklin. He was on a trip with his daughter skiing, so I was going to try to meet up with him. But we were in the elevator, and I looked at my coworker and I said, "You lied to me. You said this place was going to pass out some samples," and so it was definitely funny. So I was pretty surprised that it's in Kansas City, Missouri. So speaking of Riegers, sir, when I come, I would like to please go to Riegers. So
Let me know what you need. If you need picked up at the airport, whatever you need, but we will definitely make a trip to Riegers, and I'll let you ride the slide. So
I have definitely done it before.
yeah.
So there's a big stainless steel slide there, Franklin, adult size, and a
From
big
the
sign.
second floor to the first floor, and it's got like a twist in it.
Oh, nice.
And so if you don't want to take the stairs, you just hop in the slide and zip right down to the first floor. So
As
Okay.
usual, there's a big note that says no going head first. I believe there might be photographic evidence of me
there
going.
is. You Superman in it right out there.
I mean, at a distillery, what do you expect? Do you expect people on their best behavior?
Exactly.
Well, and to our defense, it was like, 1 o'clock in the afternoon and there wasn't a lot of people there. And the lady likes us. So,
And the rules only apply sometimes, right?
That's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I tell my employees that all the time. They're like, well, when you did it, you broke the rules. I'm like, no good leader gets where they are without breaking the rules once or twice. So
tell them you broke the rules for them.
that's right. I did it so you guys could be better. So
That's right.
Well, first let's talk about Bragg. Not Big Bragg in May slash June, but how are all things Bragg? Can I ask?
Bragg is wonderful. We have a full slate coming up. So in a couple of weeks after this comes out, we'll be headed to Mexico.
Okay.
We do our Riviera Maya tour down there, which is amazing. Stay at the JW, go to cenotes and islands, and get to make tortillas. We learn how to do that from some Mayan ladies that teach us how to do it, which is awesome. Then after that, we have our winter ride, which we get to go to a bunch of different islands on the coast of Georgia, which is really fun. Garwick, I think he found out about Bragg through this podcast.
Yes.
And then actually came on winter ride from listening to the show, which is thank you guys so much for sharing the word.
Absolutely. Now,
we love
let me
him.
interrupt you just for a minute. You're one in Mexico. Where's that at in Mexico?
So we fly into Cancun,
Okay.
and we stay 2 days there at the JW, and we don't ride in Cancun because it's busy, but we do take a ferry over to Isla Mujeres, the Isle of Women, and we ride around there, which is awesome. And then from there, we get out of the busy touristy zones and we go to the interior of the Yucatan Peninsula,
Very
and we
nice.
get to go to cenotes. We go to Chichen Itza, which is the Mayan pyramids. Really nice, flat as a pancake, easy riding, lots of stops, lots of cultural experiences. And then we finish things up on a little fishing village called Puerto Morelos, which is back on the coast. There's a beautiful resort right on the water, and it's really a nice, lovely week. Very warm when I think where you guys are. It's going to be pretty warm too in January, if I'm not mistaken, right?
We are. We're heading to Orlando. So yeah.
All right, we're going to circle back to that. I got a question at the end in our lightning round
Okay.
about Orlando, but we'll come back
Okay.
to that.
So what other international? You got the Mexico. What else you got going? Winter ride.
Yeah. Winter ride's coming up, and then spring tune-up, of course, which is lovely and awesome. You guys came down to. Unfortunately, the year we got torrential downpour, I believe it was.
Still had a good time.
Oh yeah, we had
ride.
a great time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great outdoor festival environment. Everybody camps. It's one of the best weekends in cycling for sure.
And that's where we got to meet Heather.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, the whole family comes down for that. Actually, my daughter just joined Girl Scouts, so she's gonna be hawking her Girl Scout cookies there this year. So
very nice.
I'm excited to see how many people buy those. We'll see. And then after spring tune-up, we are headed to. We're going to go scout our Croatia trip. So Heather and I are going over there to scout
Croatia.
all of our Croatia. We'll be riding around there. And then we have Big Bragg, of course, which you guys will be at. And you're all, for those of you not on YouTube and those listening, we are all coincidentally wearing the very same brag blue cap. Maybe you guys planned it, but I certainly did not. It's
We
funny that we
didn't
have.
talk to each other about it at all. I just
No.
did that, and I'm wearing your wonderful hee-haw jersey, as I like to call it. Love
Nice.
this jersey. So yeah, we're all things brag today. So
Yeah, and I got your handlebar brag T-shirt on today. So I actually bought that at the Big Red tent, and at the time I went back to my own quarters. You know, we did indoor camping, and I put it on. I'm like, ooh, not good. But now I'm the 2.0. It fits great. So
That's how everyone buys clothes, right? Hopeful buying. So I like to call that.
right, that's
Yeah,
right.
I do that with jeans all too often. Yeah. So then after we do that, then we got 2 weeks of our rides in the Loire Valley. So we're taking 2 sold out weeks over there, and we're riding from vineyard to vineyard, from castle to castle, seeing how the French royalty lived it up, and we're staying. You know, we're dining at really nice French restaurants every night, which is going to be a lot, but it's also going to be delicious. So super excited for that. And then in the end of the summer, we're doing our Bruges to Amsterdam trip again. Got 2 sold out boats of that again, which is awesome. And all these videos are on YouTube. They have great recaps on there if anybody wants to live vicariously through the brag team. And then we started all over again.
awesome.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to make sure, of course, I know that many are tuning in here today to hear the breakdown of the route for Big Brag. And if am I correct, I think I saw it's 45th route. Is that correct?
That is right. This will be our 45th year.
Okay. But I definitely wanted to talk about others, like you said, Scott Garwick. I mean, we had him on, and he's a monthly subscriber, and we appreciate him, and very big supporter of ours, and his interview was just awesome, and Michael and I were both very inspired after interviewing him. So, Scott, it's not too late, buddy. You got until midnight. You got until midnight. You can
That's
save
right.
$50. I mean, so just to be clear, pretty soon we're gonna break down the route. I just want to make sure I get this out there. If they're listening today on January 1st, they have until midnight to save $50. You're going to sign up anyway. Just sign up. So, and when you do, there's a team name there. Put Cycling Men of Leisure. So, type that in there.
In fact,
Biggest team 2
stop
years in a row.
listening. That's right. Stop listening right now. Go over to that website, register, and
Yeah.
then come back to us.
Absolutely.
We don't mind.
Yeah, we'd love to have you. And Franklin just said it. You heard it from the executive director himself. The last 2 years, we had the largest team. Let's make it 3. So, our first, by the way, I'll never forget when you said, "I hear Cycling Man of Leisure is looking for a team." I was like, "Yes, we are." With that being said, the biggest question that so far I have been getting some behind the scenes. We call it our leisure community now. I was listening to the Kelsey podcast, and they call their listeners the 92 percenters, and I'm like, we got to come up with a name for the people who are audience who associate with us and write us, and so our leisure community is what we came up with, and a few of them have said, "Hey, do you got any hints on the ride?" Now you do this with us, knowing that with full faith that we obviously are not spreading the word. So I apologize to everybody. You are hearing it now today. So Happy New Year and enjoy this. So, but biggest question that I have got is it actually going across the state this year? So, how do you want to release this? How do you want to tell where we're going this year?
I've got some notes here. So,
Okay.
Okay.
The more and more I listen to you guys' show, the more it's become a trivia show almost with
It is.
the listener spotlight.
Listener spotlight.
There we go. So
I got some toys here, so
I thought I would turn the table mainly on Michael, as he is
Oh.
always the trivia man. History aficionado. Were you a history major, Michael, or just
I was, yes.
okay?
I
And
didn't
then-
major though in Georgia history, so let's just put that out there right now. So
Well, history, right?
He's a major something. But
And your job used to be in radio as well. You do trivia on the radio.
that's right. Yeah, back in my radio days.
Okay, so this is, I don't know, this may be a dream for you, it may be a nightmare, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
so I figure you guys are going to need a map because you're probably not, you guys obviously don't live in Georgia.
We do
so
not.
You may need a map, Google Maps, your computer, whatever you need. I'm going to give you some hints. I got 3 hints for each town.
Ooh, I like this.
And we'll give you some guesses and see how close you can get. And then I got some highlights for each town as well.
I love it.
All right, so the first town, geography is easy, right? It's located at the confluence of 2 rivers that form another river, obviously, and flow into the Gulf of Mexico.
Wow. So you're looking for a town at the confluence of 2 rivers that flow into the Gulf.
That's right.
So, Ed, this is where your 1.6 listening is going to come into play, and you're really going to be thinking your 1.6 listening. But in the meantime, I'm going to the Gulf of Mexico.
I would say, and I don't know if this is right, this is just LaGrange.
That there is some rivers in LaGrange and a lake that flow. I guess
but that's not
right
it,
there,
huh?
But it's not LaGrange. No. There's also a number of hills in this town. 7 hills, in fact, that are in this town.
Adam, do you have any guesses?
Okay, so our second clue for our first town is there are many hills in this town. Some might say there's 7 hills in this town.
Ooh.
7 hills, huh?
7 hills. I thought that would be a dead giveaway for a history major, but I could be wrong.
Could it be Rome?
Rome it is. All roads lead here was your last clue. So now
there we go.
Did you get that just from the 7 hills, or were you actually looking at the map?
Well, the 7 hills is what I was like, is there Rome? There is a Rome. Yeah, so
there is
7 hills, yeah, give it away.
So Rome, Georgia. Rome is very close to the western border. So it is going to go across the state, in fact. So we'll get to the last state where we end later. So Adam, you'll be happy about that. But yeah, so Rome, it's they had a drawing actually to determine the name for the city. And the guy that won the drawing made a bunch of parallels to Rome, and they named the city Rome. So it's really cool. And the other info that I have for each town is if there's a distillery or a brewery in there, because I know you guys have rented cars on our rides in the past to visit close by and local distilleries. So there are a few towns. There are a few towns with distilleries. There's actually no distillery here, but there is a few breweries. There's River Remedy Brewing, Rome City Brewing, and then there's also, I know you're a cigar aficionado as well, so they have Hotel de Ricky, which is an old Havana cigar bar right downtown.
Oh, man. I mean, a brewery, a cigar bar, and the kicking off of Big Brag 2025.
So you're going to be happy about that.
I love it.
Rome's also cool. They actually have the world's largest contiguous college campus there. It's called Berry College. And a cool thing they have there, 27,000 acres, this college campus. So it's ginormous.
Wow.
And they actually have bald eagles there. And they have an eagle cam that multiple different webcams on different eagles' nests around the campus. So you can log on anytime and check out the bald eagles there on Berry College, which is really cool. So if you want to get there early, you can. They've got a nice heritage trail system that goes along some of those rivers that we were talking about, the confluence of the Onstatula and the Etowah River, which turn into the Coosa. So you can ride along those, get a nice little warm up, and the downtown area is really awesome. Everything's going to be really nice and compact there. We're going to be staying basically downtown at the Forum River Center. So it's a really cool starting point. And Rome has a really cool downtown. So definitely worth getting in town a little bit earlier. If you're getting a hotel, come stay the night before and get acquainted with Rome.
Cool.
All right. So the next day we're doing day 1. We're doing 49 miles, 2,900 feet of elevation. And we are going to ride some of these. Used to be a really famous ride in Rome called Up the Creek Without a Pedal. So that's a really cool ride. We're going to do a lot of the routes that they used to do, so it's really pretty. And then we're going to get into our next town, which was the first town to have a historic mural, Coca-Cola mural, painted on the outside of one of their walls on the pharmacy in one of the towns. So I know you travel across, you guys travel a lot. You see Coca-Cola murals, all over the place, I'm sure. They are prolific here in Georgia. And this town was the first one to have one of those. I don't know if you guys are looking at your map, but it may or may not be related to Coca-Cola. All right. They also have a Tyrannosaurus Rex in this town. And then, and then the last clue, it has, in fact, a brewery that, if you combine the brewery with all their other brewing locations, is the largest brewery in the world.
Now, see, my first guess here would be Atlanta, because they used to have the T-Rex thing or the big dinosaur in the airport.
Mm-hmm. But you're looking at your map.
It's the home of Coca-Cola. But, yeah, exactly. It doesn't work out strategically with the map.
I'm going with Cartersville or Ackworth or Altoona or Oak Grove.
Cartersville. First guess is usually correct. So Cartersville.
Good job.
Another really cool town. Anheuser-Busch. They actually have a plant there. And they have a beautiful backroad century that leaves out of that plant every September. We're going to be riding a lot of their routes as well. And that is a very beautiful century. If you're from Georgia or close to Georgia, definitely recommend coming to ride there. It starts at the Bud plant, and you get to talk to some of the people that make Bud Light and Budweiser there, which is, I know they were embroiled in controversy recently. And I know a lot of people, I've actually heard you guys give Bud Light some trash talk on here before. It was Natty Light. I'm sorry.
Natty Light.
It was Natty Light. Yeah, that was Armando, right? Didn't he get hit with a Natty Light?
Yes, he got hit with a Natty Light.
Yeah, and if that's the beer,
almost a full can. So
not a bad one to throw out the window if you're going to throw one out the window. Yeah. But actually, yeah. So I've actually sat down and talked with one of the head brewers there, and man, those guys are scientists. Like their ability to pump out, I forgot how many hundreds of thousands of cans per day, consistently, day after day, and have it taste the same, whether you open it up in Kansas City or Atlanta, Georgia. Is just, they're scientists, how they make it work. It's crazy. Anyway, so Anheuser-Busch is there. Also, and on our brewery distillery, in addition to Anheuser-Busch, downtown, they have the Loire Valley Brewing Company. And fun fact, fun note, we're actually going to have a rest stop at the Loire Valley River outpost on the Etowah River on that first day of riding. So rest stop 2, first day, is going to be actually at one of their breweries. Really cool. Right by a covered bridge, right on the river. We're going to have some music playing there. I think we're going to have some bagels from the #1 bagel bakery in Georgia, which is going to be really cool. So that'll be a really cool stop. And legally, they can't serve until a little bit later in the day. So definitely, if you take your time getting there, though, you're going to hit it and be able to try some of the Loire Valley Brewing Company's beer.
Oh, we're men of leisure. We take our time, so that should not be an issue.
Yeah, so you'll be right on time. And then actually, we're going to ride straight through downtown Cartersville. And Cartersville probably has one of the most vibrant downtowns of all the ones that we're going to pass through this year. So we're going to have a rest stop right in the middle of downtown, which is really cool. There's tons of awesome restaurants, breweries, all kinds of fun stuff to do in downtown Cartersville. Our route's going to take us right through there on the way to Georgia Highlands, where we're going to stay that night at a college. So lots of cool stuff to do in Cartersville. There's, I mentioned that T-Rex. There is a Tellus Science Museum, which is really cool if you want to check it out. There is, you can actually walk to the Savoy Automobile Museum. They've got like hundreds of cars walking distance from our overnight site. So there is a ton of cool stuff to do when we're in Cartersville.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
And this is a picture of you riding that you're putting up here now, Adam, right?
Oh, yes.
On your new bike?
Of course.
Yeah. Thanks.
On my new bike, yeah.
Without the debrim.
Oh,
love it.
Sorry, I had to beep him.
It's fine. All All right, and then next day, we're going to do 44 miles, 2,800 feet of elevation, might be a little bit more than that. And on one of the most beautiful roads I think we're going to ride on all week. So that is, again, following some of that beautiful back road century route. Really beautiful. Into our next town, which is the marble capital of Georgia. Marble mine from here has been on structures like the Lincoln Memorial, New York Stock Exchange, and the U.S. Capitol.
No help.
The starting point or terminus, depending on if you're going northbound or southbound, of the Appalachian Trail was originally located in this town.
The starting point. You said so. The starting point or the ending point,
depending on if you're hiking north or south. Yeah.
Okay.
Looking at the map,
original, not anymore.
Original.
Yeah, for all you hiking history buffs.
Was that Jasper?
It is Jasper. See, I'm not even getting through all my clues here. You're killing me.
Sorry.
Not good. It's good. You know, it's I'm making them too easy, is what it is. But I didn't.
Yeah, there you go.
I should have known I was going to get the history buff, so of course. So yeah, Jasper, and we went through Jasper 2018, so we'll be going back there this year. And actually, their downtown has kind of doubled since we've been through there before. And this is our first stop, which actually has a distillery. So I will find you two, and my new favorite expression that I hear on your show all the time, bellied up at the bar at the distillery, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they have Sharp Top Distilling Company. So that's two local guys there. They started a distillery. They got bourbons, gin, and a couple other spirits that they distill there. And Sharp Top is actually the closest mountain to Jasper. Jasper is actually known as the Georgia's first mountain city. So it's like at the foothills right before you get into, the serious mountains of North Georgia, which we're not going to. This is more of a foothills and valleys ride, which we're debating on calling it Foothills and Valleys or Pedal to Piedmont, which by the time this episode has come out, we'll have made a choice. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Pedal to Piedmont or Foothills and Valleys?
I'm just one vote, and I would go Pedal to Piedmont. Looking
it's
at
got a better ring to it.
It does.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
But I figure no one really knows what the Piedmont is outside of Georgia. So trying to have a more larger appeal.
Yeah, but still keep it mysterious,
Yeah, Pedal to Piedmont.
People like a mystery.
Okay.
I see that the Fainting Goat Vineyards, not that we'll be there, but is north of Jasper.
Well, funny story about Fainting Goat Vineyards. Last time we were there in 2018, we had a rest stop that was at Fainting Goat Vineyards, which is beautiful, great vineyards, great wine, awesome place. If you're ever there, definitely go check it out. But if you're on a bicycle, however, we went over Burnt Mountain that day. Last year, last time in 2018, our route took us over Burnt Mountain. So that was a true mountain ride for Bragg, which is a lot of people love. Some people love it less. So it's, the very big climb, you probably had it was like a 15-mile hill that day. And then I chose this beautiful vineyard as a rest stop, which is on the hill going over Burnt Mountain. And then you had to take a sharp turn to go a quarter mile up a even steeper hill just to get to the rest stop. And then from there, ride back down to continue going up and over again. So I got so many people upset with me that they had to do an extra quarter mile of climb on an already hellacious climbing day.
Well, why do you think they call it Fainting Goat?
That's right. That was my thing. You knew it was a mountain ride. You knew what you're signing up for that year. But this time, don't worry, we're going south out of Jasper, so we're not going into the mountains. We are kind of steering clear of them. But yeah, Jasper's a cool place. They have that Sharp Top Distillery. They have Penley Creek Brewing Company and Talking Rock Brewery. Most of those are all walking distance from our venue, which is great. So you don't even have to shuttle. The school we're staying at is an eighth of a mile into the downtown. Tons of cool stuff to do there. They have a lot of other stuff going on in town. You can tour some quarries while you're there. There's lots of stuff to do in Jasper. And it's a really cool town to hang out in. And then the next day, we're on 50 miles, 3,600 feet in elevation to our next town, which houses a little bit of controversy in two of our towns this time surrounding waterfalls. The first town has the tallest, I'm going to put this in air quotes, tallest waterfall in Georgia at 729 feet. So that's your first clue. Tallest waterfall in Georgia. And Adam, if you've been watching our family YouTube vacation getaways, we actually visited this waterfall this past summer. So
Is it Amicalola?
Amicalola, yeah, that is the waterfall.
Okay.
And then the city is, I don't know if you guys were ever in a NASCAR, and some of our older listeners might get this, but Awesomeville from Dawsonville, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
not a NASCAR guy.
Oh, well.
So Dawsonville.
Yeah, Awesomeville from Dawsonville. So Dawsonville, another cool town. And we're kind of keeping with the theme of having a lot of racing and car history. That museum in Cartersville, and then here we actually have NASCAR Hall of Fame located in Dawsonville, and where we're going to be staying is actually a stone's throw from there. And then in there, stone's throw from our venue, guess what they have? Just for you guys.
A distillery.
That is correct.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so this is all new distillery. Granddaddy Mim's Distilling Company, which is basically connected to the NASCAR Hall of Fame appropriately, because I'm sure you two know, moonshine and NASCAR go hand in hand.
Yes.
So
absolutely,
in this town of Dawsonville, stock car racing actually started, which grew out of their history of running moonshine. Highway 9, which will be on for, maybe a mile this year. They used to call it Thunder Road, because they would run so much moonshine from Dawsonville down into the city of Atlanta, and they would take 9 as part of that. So it's called Thunder Road. And there is, the community came together, and there's this awesome guy who built an F1 style racing track in Dawsonville, which I am diligently working on with the Chamber of Commerce to get us to be able to ride on our layover day, which would be super awesome.
That's cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah, so it's Atlanta Motorsports Park, and it is really cool. They do races out there all the time. They actually have kart racing, so we're going to try and do that a day that we're there too. If you want to do some actual one-style kart racing on the track, you can hopefully do that. We're trying to arrange that. And yeah, so Dawsonville is another cool town. That's actually our layover town, so we're going to try and arrange folks to go up and check out that waterfall at Amicalola, like I talked about as well. So you can actually hike up. I forgot how many stairs it is. It's hundreds of stairs to get to the top, but it's a really cool waterfall to go check out if you've never seen it. Or you guys could just hang out at the distillery the whole time. Your choice.
Not 100%.
I think we can split our time and do a little of both.
There you go.
Let's hope I'm not chasing down a wheel this time.
Yeah. So if we're in town in Dawsonville and you hear an air raid siren, don't worry. There's a guy who owns the historic Dawsonville pool room, which is really famous because it's the Elliott family, Bill Elliott. Austin from Dawsonville is Bill Elliott, and his son, Chase Elliott, is also NASCAR legend. He actually won the Sprint Cup in 2020, so another champion racer. So every time an Elliott family member wins a NASCAR race, he just rings this air raid siren for an exorbitantly long time in town. I don't think there's a race while we're in town, but because it's not a Sunday, of course, but really cool place, historic place to go check out is that Dawsonville pool room as well.
I see that the Checkered Flag Catering is right next to Dawson Room, pool room, traditional American food. There's all kinds of stuff there. So
yeah, there's all kinds of. It's a smaller downtown. One of the smaller downtowns we'll be in, but also lots of stuff in the surrounding community that we can get into. So it'll be a really cool stop, and we're gonna stay right in the middle of downtown, which will be really fun.
Cool.
All right, next day we are going 54 miles, 3,700 feet of elevation, to a town, and get out your history degree, Michael, where President Martin Van Buren's cousin settled here in 1800 and built a lot of the houses in town.
Ooh. Yeah, that's no help.
Named after John Clark, a Revolutionary War general and the 31st governor of Georgia.
So, Clarksville?
Clarksville it is. And I believe you guys stayed there, not last year before last.
Yep.
And that was when you were saying when the kids were hanging out at the pool and you couldn't take it anymore at that day, I believe, right?
I think so, yeah.
I don't remember that day.
Must have been a tough day.
You
Yeah,
know what?
apparently.
He doesn't remember lots of things.
Yeah, you know.
He calls Mark, Matt, Mark.
Got the M right. Come on.
Yeah, y'all messed it up so many times on purpose now. I'm not sure what it really is.
It is Matt Robinson.
All right. Clarksville, cool town.
Clarksville.
Downtown's fun. You guys have been there. No distillery, but they do have the Copper Pot, the Attic, and the Community Brew and Tap. So tons of fun stuff downtown to do there. Plus, where we're staying has a pool, which is really nice. After a long day's ride, you can hop in the pool, which is really cool. Then we're going to head 57 miles, 3,300 feet of elevation to the next town. And funny story, I went to a camp with the son-in-law of the world's strongest man who is from this town. He lifted a total of 6,270 pounds on a back lift, which is listed as a Guinness Book of World Records, greatest weight ever lifted by a human.
Wow.
Okay.
Yep.
Michael.
that doesn't help me.
The town is named after the Cherokee word for beautiful. So if you know Cherokee, I'm not sure if you studied that in your history class.
Toka.
Wow. How did you know that?
Cherokee word.
I mean, but how did you know Toka meant beautiful?
Well, don't we all know Cherokee?
I guess not.
I went to college out in Nebraska where they literally Native American and several of the Native American languages are in fact a class you can take for your foreign language requirement.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. And interesting. So you know some Cherokee. That's going to come in our last town as well. So the Cherokee word for beautiful Toka, what town are we going to looking at your map?
To finish it off, you mean?
No. This is our second to last town. Oh, and this is also where our waterfall controversy comes in. Because when you go there and you tell them that their waterfall is tall but not the tallest, they disagree. Because it's actually, they have the tallest free-falling waterfall east of the Mississippi is in this town at 186 feet.
So that's going to be Henderson Falls.
Nope.
No, okay. Because I'm looking at the map now. I found Toka here, and okay, they had Henderson Falls Park. So
Toccoa is the town. Toka was yeah.
Yes. Okay.
There we go. All right. So yeah, that's our waterfall controversy. Both towns love to claim they have the tallest waterfall. So I'm not sure if you want to count a cascading waterfall as a waterfall or if it has to be free falling. But Dawsonville has the tallest at 729 feet. And then
this is funny. We've had this dispute before because when we were in Michigan, they talked about a waterfall. And we stopped on the ride to look at the waterfall. And it was just it was a long kind of cascading thing. And we were kind of disappointed. I'll just leave it at that. It was like, well, water is falling, but I mean, it's only falling, not. So.
All right. Well, we've
discussed this before.
They're both very impressive. And you'll have to look at both and see what you think. Toccoa, it is truly 186 feet of free falling waterfall, which is really cool. Okay. So if you ever catch it when it's like, flood stage or raining, it's well, they won't let you there flood stage, but it's really cool to check out. And it's actually on the campus of Toccoa Falls College. So our route doesn't take us right by there, but it's not far from where we're staying. And you can go down there and check it out. And it's a really cool waterfall to check out. And they have Currahee Winery and Vineyards, and they have Wesley's on Doyle downstairs. So no distillery. But they do have a couple really cool bars and vineyards there that you can check out. There's also the Currahee Military Museum, which is right downtown. You can check out. That's 15,000 square foot of like World War II museum memorabilia. So, Michael, I'm sure you'll definitely have an interest in that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah,
Just like him.
Toccoa is a really cool town. It's funny. I went to camp. The director of the camp while I was there, his name is Ed Schaefer, and he married Paul Anderson's daughter. And Ed Schaefer, the guy I went to camp with, he's taller. I'm 6'3". He's, I don't know, 6'4", 6'5", and he is just a grizzly bear of a man. Just his fingers are, huge sausages, not in a bad way, but just like he is just a huge man, very intimidating. And he said that when he asked for his daughter's hand in marriage from Paul Anderson, the strongest man in the world, he shook his hand and he grabbed his hand and said, "Son, do you see how big my hand is?" He's like, "Yes, sir." He's like, "If you ever hurt my daughter, I will crush your skull with this hand." So
wow.
Yeah,
He could probably do it too.
he lifted with 6,000 pounds. I mean, the guy's incredible. They actually have they have a monument to him in Toccoa, so you can go check out the monument and see how large and strong he really is. So he is a really cool guy. Really good Christian guy. He actually founded a school for troubled youth down in South Georgia that still runs to this day. And they actually used to do a lot with cycling, which is really cool. So anyway, lots of Toccoa history there. All right. And then our last day, we're headed 56 miles, 2,600 feet of elevation. So probably our flattest day. And we are headed to our last town. So it was originally carved out of two other counties in 1850 and was the only town in Georgia, only county in Georgia named after a woman.
Oh,
She was very fierce and was renowned during the Revolutionary War for her determination and efforts to rid the area of British sympathizers and British soldiers.
Well, nobody likes the British sympathizers, so.
No way.
Livonia?
No, but we're going to pass pretty close to there. All right, and then 2 miles south of this town was the Cherokee center of the world. Cherokee Indians assembled here. They had many trails that radiate from here in many directions. They came here to hold councils, dance, worship, and where they would do all kinds of related functions, barter with their hides, and all kinds of stuff. So it was the center of the Cherokee world. So now knowing that you're fluent in Cherokee, Michael, you got to know where the Cherokee center of the world is.
Well, first off, I don't think I ever said that I was fluent.
All right, and it's
center of the Cherokee world. Huh? You got another one?
Yeah, this town is named after one of the largest lakes in the southeast, with almost 90 square miles, 962 miles of shoreline, and it's 56,000 acres, and it's actually a man-made reservoir.
Savannah?
Hartswell.
Hartwell, that's it. So it's
Hartwell.
Lake Hartwell, and Hartwell is the actual town. And we ended there in 2018. It's a great little town. They do have a brewery there, Southern Heart Brewing Company, and actually 2 brag riders were original investors in this this brewery. So definitely a place you want to check out while you're there. And we are going to end right on the lake at Long Point, and it's a beautiful, you got over 180 degree view of the water on this peninsula. We're going to be set up right there. End of the road party is going to be there. We'll have the brag bar. We'll have a meal for everybody. Most people jump in the water to celebrate ending the ride right there on the water, and it's just a great spot to end.
Awesome.
So, looking at Anderson, which is next to Hartwell, Anderson's in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
That's the closest regional
airport.
Right. Yeah.
I see your logistics.
The planner's already going, isn't he?
Oh yeah. Listen, we haven't even begun to. Now we know. Obviously, if you watched the video at midnight, I hope you came here first personally. But Rome, Georgia, Cartersville, Jasper, Dawsonville for the overnight, Clarksville, Toccoa, and Hartwell. I was kind of quiet during that because I am not the history major. I am the can ChatGPT give me the answer kind of guy. Michael is the history guy, but looking at this, I'm excited. I've been to Clarksville, but the rest of it, I don't think we've been to before.
No. And where's the overnight town or the
Dawsonville.
not the overnight
Layover.
town, Dawsonville. So that's the okay.
Oh yeah, I'm the planner. Is the wheels are turning and a spinning. So
Yeah. So if you are a guest and you're coming from afar, there's shuttle easily from Rome to the Atlanta airport. And it's about a 2-hour drive from the Atlanta airport to Rome, and same, it's about 2 hours from the Atlanta airport to Hartwell. But also, if you're going to do regional, which is obviously more expensive, but Augusta is pretty easy to get to Hartwell. And yeah, then Atlanta would be your closest. So if you're flying from afar, Atlanta is definitely your best bet.
Okay. Okay. Which is why I emailed Stephanie earlier upon registration, is if I had to make a change, because I already paid for the end town to the start town bus, but might have to make a change, Mr. Sharp. You and I,
Yeah, we could fly to Atlanta and go out from there.
That's right. So we always advertise to do brag how you want to do brag. You and I will put a plan together. There's about 85 flights from Detroit to Atlanta a day. I can pick which one I want. So.
There you go.
Anytime I want to go any place from Kansas City on Delta, anywhere else, I'm coming to Atlanta. So it works out beautifully.
There you go.
Although last year for brag, you came into Detroit. That was pretty cool.
That was a one-off. That's never happened before or since, but yeah.
That was kind of cool. He was coming in, and I got to the airport early and went up to the Sky Club, and then he got off one plane. We hopped on another, and the adventure began. So,
right.
Well, I appreciate you having it trivia style and taking the effort to give us some breweries, some distilleries. I mean, a lot of people tuned in last year and ended up signing up because they heard you talk about certain aspects of the ride, things that are going to be there. Knowing you probably still have some things in the works. You had concerts before, which were amazing last year in the overnight, or no, the night before the overnight. That gentleman who played was just amazing. I don't know, I forget his name and I feel awful, but he was. You had the park across from all the restaurants, and you had a bunch of concerts that night.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we do. I pride myself on. I used to do beer and music festivals before taking over brag, so I pride myself in finding some good musical acts. So, especially Spring Tune-Up. Big brag. A lot of the town choose the entertainment, but on Spring Tune-Up, we can pick them pretty good. All right, but I have a few more questions for you guys. Just being an avid fan of the show and listening so much.
Okay.
The first of which I know a few of these other people in my life, but would you call yourself a Disney adult? What's with Disney?
No.
You love Disney. Every episode there's a Disney thing. Tell me about Disney.
Let me stop you right there. First off, you're talking with Adam.
True story.
Using the term adult with Adam is kind of pushing the terminology, the definition.
I don't know why there are so many AI features I could put up with. Someone who's on time, someone's in the same time zone. I don't have to wait for it. I'm just kidding. No, I'm great question, by the way. Great question.
Okay.
I think it's a reason why I think it's a great question, because when you this classification of Disney adult is like a way eccentric person who, if you're not sure what he's asking, this is a person who's like, oh my gosh, a Mickey Mouse, and oh my god, I gotta go be Mickey Mouse, and oh, I have to buy everything that they come up with and everything, and
check.
That would be
check.
Dude, if you want to buy it, go ahead. I mean,
no, I'm checking off for you. It's like we're batting 100% so far.
You see the wall behind me? If you're watching on YouTube, do you see the wall behind me? That doesn't come, but No, we enjoy it. So my wife and I have a timeshare there because it's a nice place to go on vacation, and for us it's a 2-hour plane ride, and it's warm and it's clean. Although Disney's kind of gone a little expensive, but no, I would say like a Disney adult would be. I mean, I see them when I'm there, and I mean they're like
Do
dressed
they know
pretty.
your name?
I mean, I'm on the mailing list, but
Wow. Seems to think you are a Disney adult.
who's going there next, Michael?
I am taking my family to Disney World for New Year's Eve. My family and I are going.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing it for them.
There's all the reasons you mentioned. It's clean. It's a close flight. Timeshare. That describes the entire coast of Florida. So it's
True.
And you got the beach
True.
there place.
You don't have Mickey Mouse.
You don't have Mickey
in
Mouse.
Florida.
So I guess what is it about Disney that you, because this comes up every episode. So I just want to get it out there for all the listeners as to why Disney is so magical.
Now I'm gonna let me just throw this out here before you answer. From my perspective, knowing this man for many, many years, good personal friend, love the guy. I'm gonna say it's based upon your childhood. You had a great experience there during your childhood.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, you're right. No,
you had a great experience there as a child, and it's one of those things that you just keep going back to because you're able to relive that great experience each time you go.
Yeah, and Disney World is so large that, I mean, you can't do it all every time. And this time we went there for Thanksgiving because my parents were in Spain, and so we were like, oh, let's just get out of town for a little bit. And for us, it's easy to book a flight and then go down. And yeah, this time we did all kinds of different things that we've never done. So there's so much to do there that but yeah, like Wednesday and Thursday were great. Friday and Saturday, get me out of there. I'm too spoiled to go when there's not a lot of people. So, but
feel the same way. So we went 2020, October 2020. So this was like peak pandemic fear. Stuff was starting to open back up, but you had to wear masks. There were, there was no characters. But we went. Heather was pregnant with Trey, so it was just Harper. Harper was, I guess, 3 years old. We rode every ride as many times as we wanted to. Like, we got off the ride, and, like, Harper, do you want to ride it again? And we'd walk right back around to the front. There was no line whatsoever.
Nice.
And so, for me, it would be hard to go back if it wasn't a pandemic. Because I know I've heard horror stories of the lines and the heat and the waiting. But, so I don't know. I just wanted to get a take on Disney.
See, that's the beautiful thing about being having a timeshare there, because I have one as well, thanks to Adam. That's the beautiful thing, because you go so often, we go about every other year, that you don't feel obligated to, like, we got to do everything.
Yeah.
Because we went one time and we weren't a timeshare member, and it's like, man, we got to do it all. We got to do a park every day, and we got to hit So by this, going every other year or so allows you to, like, okay, if we don't get it down, we'll get it next time type thing. So,
and I think there's like experiences that, like, you don't know about until you, like, been there a lot. And let me give you an example. Like for us, we don't have to go to the rides every time. There's so many things that you can do there, and Disney does it on purpose. It's marketing. They have certain experiences that only certain people find out about, and then if you find out about it, you're like, well, I want to experience that. And then you go to some, private event and now what they've done is they've unfortunately done what they always do. When they had evenings at Magic Kingdom where it was supposed to be more intimate and only a few people there. Well, then they sold that out, and then Mickey's Not So Scary parties and Christmas parties. And then in the old days, those were like limited, so you could hop on all kinds of rides. And now they sell that. It's just like basically having 2 admissions in one day. So having the experience of knowing, like, when to get in and when to get out, I think is good for us. And we like the just the atmosphere, and then there's so many different restaurants, and we have certain foods that we like to go back and forth for, and so I think having the knowledge is definitely great. Now, what I do see is families that go there like the one time and they've saved up, for that one, because Disney's made it unaffordable for the average family. You can't. I don't think you can. I mean, having the timeshare, you can go back multiple times, but can you imagine, Michael, if you loaded up your family and paid the hotel price every year or every other year?
I
I
did
mean,
that one, maybe 2 times. Oh yeah, and with the timeshare, it makes it super. We wouldn't be going as many times as we're going if it wasn't for the
So they
timeshare.
got you with the
Yeah,
and now,
timeshare.
yeah.
yeah. Well,
But it's like last time we went 6 months ago. We went to what's the beach resort?
Vero Beach.
Vero Beach. We went to Vero Beach instead of going to the theme park. So we were on the Atlantic side of Florida at Vero Beach, and they've got a beach resort, so we could just like hang out at the beach for a week. So
Right.
Yeah, we've traded our timeshare for cruises, Disney cruises, and you can do Adventures by Disney, and you can trade it for. And you used to be able to trade it for RCI, where you could go anywhere in the world.
Right.
And so having the timeshare, ironically, I don't know if I've ever shared this on this show before or not, but I'm willing to share it with you. I did the whole dime tour to get fast passes, and she gave me the materials, and I took it home. And I used to have a photography business for 20 years, where my studio used to be my photography development room and everything. And I laid all the stuff here on the shelf for a while. And like 2 years later, I'm like, you know what? I'm thinking about going back to Disney. So I got out the paperwork and looked, and I called them up, and I actually bought it and over the phone. And she's like, "Oh, I remember you. You're the photographer, yada yada yada."
Wow.
I'm sure she took notes. I mean, they see so many people. I'm sure she's like, "Oh yeah, doesn't hurt that my email address has the word photography in it." So, um, so then I ended up buying it, and then it's a point-based system. So if you go certain times of the year, like when you're talking about hot and miserable, I try to stay clear of that place when it's hot and miserable. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, it happens at times, but like we love going down in February, October. Usually cycling season is upon us, and I don't go. And then as soon as cycling season is over, then I usually say, usually they have a ride here called Tour to Livingston, and I live in Livingston County. And so after that, and then we usually go down for a while, and it's kind of like the end of the season thing. So people are back in school, and I like to go when I can, when there's lower amount of people. So, and my wife is also a big Universal fan. She loves Harry Potter, and she doesn't listen to the show, so I'll call her a nut job. But she might be a Universal adult. But now, if she hears that, I'll be surprised because she doesn't listen. So I'll say, "Hey, did you hear the last show?" She's like, "No, I didn't hear it." I'm like, "Okay, well, good." So don't worry about that new bike I bought. But so I actually would differentiate. I would say maybe I would be borderline Disney adult, but I don't think I'm. I've seen some people over there that you just go, "Wow." So
Okay. Fair
but you
enough.
realize your perception is always different than everybody else's perception. So
my coworkers, they all make fun of me. They're all like, "You're going to Disney again?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But then on the opposite end of that spectrum, I've made it very obvious. I live in the cold state. As a matter of fact, my computer says it is 13 degrees outside. So I'm going to go to the Detroit airport, hop on a plane for a couple hours, go somewhere warm, play some golf, and come back. And so they can make fun of all they
which
want. And that
is
is the other thing, which is
what
they
we're
have
doing
all
in
kinds.
January.
Yeah.
They do have nice
So
golf courses.
Yes,
they do, yeah. And we're not going to the parks when you and I go. So so we're going to take the podcasting equipment. I'll pack up the
podcast,
road show, and
golf, bourbon. That's what we're doing for the long
There
weekend.
you go.
I'm sure there'll be a cigar or two in there as well. So
All right. Well, on our winter ride, did I tell you? All right, stepping back, there was a guy who came on us to RAGBRAI with us, and he wrote an article for Golf Digest because he rode all of RAGBRAI every day. He rode, and then he would come back, drop his stuff off, and then he had his clubs, and he would play and walk 18 holes every day after RAGBRAI, which I thought was
that's awesome.
just dedication beyond belief.
Yeah, that's definitely dedication. I mean, I can remember my first RAGBRAI in 2016. There was no golfing happening.
We did stay on a golf course though that one
Yeah.
night, so you could have.
where that lady with the horses who was
Oh yeah, she thought we were going to steal her horses. Oh boy.
All right.
great question on the Disney question. Great question.
Another question. Michael seems to be having a difficult time coping with the amount of sound effects and visual effects. So I just wondered how that's going, how you're dealing with it, Michael. I know it's changed the dynamic of the podcast.
Isn't everybody who's listening to this podcast getting tired of all the crazy sound effects and the bleeps? And like I said, you're dealing with Adam, and using the term adult is very difficult. It's like a 12-year-old on a noise machine. He's just pushing. See, he's just pushing buttons.
Mostly absent so far, but then you get him going. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he just starts pushing buttons, and we got sound effects and all sorts of stuff. But no, Adam's a techie, and I realize Adam's a techie. I appreciate that because I'm not a techie, so he can do the technological stuff. But if that keeps Adam happy, pushing the sound effects and stuff, I will go along with it.
Fair.
Now, if he puts his debrim on and starts pushing the buttons, I have to draw the line there. But I have children. I understand that you pick your battles.
Wow.
Sometimes you let them just, fine, play with your little noise things and all that kind of stuff. It keeps them happy, and we can go on afterwards. So.
Wow. Well, you know what? The amount that you get older and the amount of stuff that bothers you gets a lot less than it used to be. So, listen, I've actually received all kinds of compliments behind the scenes.
And I haven't heard you read any of those compliments on the show.
Well, Franklin listens to the show. I'm sure there's some listener spotlight. I mean,
yeah, but it's all the beeping and oh my God, at Christmas we had the dancing Santa forever and the noises and.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, I just came here to stir the pot.
That's all right.
Thanks, Franklin. Right. We appreciate it.
Well done. What? The pot has been stirred,
yes.
But I fully admit that they're toys, and I am a techie. I mean,
yeah,
I can walk from my basement to the second floor of my home without touching a light switch. Things go on and off automatically, and
it is annoying.
Company comes into town, they're like, "Well, how do you sleep at night?" Just fine, thank you very much.
It's always spooky. I'm in the basement when I go to his house. You walk out, lights pop on, and then it's like lights pop off, and then in the middle of the night, the light will pop on because a cat walked through, and he's got it set up. It's a beautiful setup. I'm no way take away from that, but it takes some getting used to. That's all.
And
then,
that's all right.
Last question is, why do you give Michael such a hard time about the different time zones?
It's a joke.
No, that's a great question. I think this is therapy. He's acting as our therapist here. I think this is something we need to get out because you've got this hang up with Midwest. I don't understand it.
Okay.
Yeah. And noises and the Midwest are your two big hang-ups. So I think we need to maybe talk about, I don't know, your childhood or whatever it is that's caused this issue you have.
Should I lay back? Should I lay back?
Whatever makes you feel comfortable.
Okay.
So why, to answer his question, why do you have a problem with the Midwest? You jealous?
Well, first of all, oh my gosh, no, I grew up in Illinois. I'm not jealous at all.
Well, you probably should be, but
those who live south of I-80. Oh, oops, sorry. Just kidding. Half of our listeners live south of I-80. Yeah. I love you all. I'm sorry. I apologize. It's just Michael. So do you know you are a not only friend but friend of the show? Have you heard me tell the story of why the Central Time Zone joke? Are you asking for real, or do you know why the joke started?
I do not know how the joke started.
Oh, okay. So now, see, Michael, I want you to lay back and don't interrupt me because I'm going to give you credit. Okay. Michael had been to Michigan twice for rides, and he made a joke, and he said. Sometimes jokes aren't really jokes. He's really hurt. But he said, well, when are you going to come my way for a ride? And I said, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. I said, I'll tell you what. I said, is there a ride coming up? And he's like, oh, I do the Gorilla Century, and which is Pittsburgh, Kansas. Is that right?
Yes, Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Pittsburgh. And so I said, okay, well, I'll tell you what. I said, I don't know if maybe it was Memorial Day weekend. I wasn't doing anything, and my wife was working midnights, and I said, all right, I'll tell you what. I'll come out. 12-hour drive, packed up the bike, headed out there, and we stayed at Kansas Crossing. Why I remember that, I have no idea, but it's a casino there.
Yeah, you might be able to call it a casino, but
well, yeah,
Cherokee for
Dock or
casino.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
3 or 4? 3. Oh, Clark. So, anyways, we're doing the ride. Next morning, we're doing a century ride, and we start out, and it's kind of a really different kind of a ride. It's not a circle, but it kind of almost like a weird L cross thing where you go back and forth to complete the century. And halfway through, Michael said, "You okay?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I don't know, just not feeling it today." And he's like, "What, like jet lag or something?" And I said, "Yeah, it's essential time." And so so it started out as a joke, and then of course not a joke that I won't let down, and we've kind of fed into the show. Now here's the funny part. You mentioned Scott Garwick. So you turned us on to Scott Garwick, and he wrote us and said, I'd love to be on the show. And he had such wonderful stories about George Floyd and getting arrested, and what a great interview. So during our communications, I said, now to be fair, Michael has a daughter and middle school, and he's got a stepson and family, and he's pretty busy. And so I'm usually very receptive. So if transportation is a very hit and miss job where there's no way I can touch my phone, or there's, like, Franklin, I've taken your call during the day. So sometimes there's times where you can be on the phone, sometimes there's not. And so I was replying, and I said, well, you'll have to forgive him. He's in Central Time. And Scott said, hey, what's wrong with Central Time? I'm like, oh, man. So it all started as a should I lay back, Michael? But it all started as a joke. And then it's just letting the joke go on. But the truth of the matter is I grew up in Illinois, very southern tip of Illinois. My father was in the Air Force bouncing around. And so no desire to go back to Illinois. So I'm very happy with where I live. That's probably the joke comes into play.
I see.
It's warmer in Southern Illinois.
There you go.
Just saying.
Yeah, Scott's a really good guy. I've actually, we have the snooze box, which is that mobile hotel room, which you guys actually got to stay in one night. And
we sure did.
We were having some electrical issues in there, and Scott actually was a commercial electrician for a number of years. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. So I probably had 3 hours on the phone back and forth with him over different things around this, and finally I got him on a FaceTime basically, and we figured out the issue. So he saved me thousands of dollars in electrical work and time. So I was about to cut that thing open until he got me on the right track.
I got to give credit where credit is due, because I know he'll listen or watch. I think he's a YouTube watcher more. He was the first guy who made a donation to us, and Michael and I, we're lucky to have careers and lucky enough to do well, but there's a lot of expenses, and so at first we were kind of uncomfortable asking for donations, and then it was like, you know what? I mean, every other podcast in the world asks for donations, and so just a little bit. And Scott was the first guy, and then Scott's son wrote us, and
nice.
What a powerful family and powerful words, and one of those days where you read a message like that and it just makes you go, hey, that's why we're doing this. That's cool. And so great guy, and I could see that with what he does with bikes and selling the bikes for good causes and doing what he does. So he's another guy you should follow on Facebook. He's a recumbent writer and does all kinds of great stuff. So go ahead.
Now, one thing I did want to say, you brought up the snooze box.
Okay.
The snooze box is coming back to Big Bragg, correct?
Oh, of course. Yeah, we're keeping that thing on the road as much as we can.
Okay. And how quickly does that fill up? Because let me tell you, if you've not done the snooze box, we had the honor of being able to try it out for an evening because somebody left early, and Franklin let us try it out, and it's incredible. lots of lights and charging, and it was fantastic. So,
Kept you from sleeping under a water fountain.
yeah, I would have been sleeping under a water fountain. So thank you, Franklin, again. But how quickly does that fill out? So say I was going to sign up for Big Bragg. Is it already filled up, or do I have time to?
So we've got, the way it works is if you book before, you have first right of refusal for the next year. So basically, there's 5 rooms in it. Those 5 people have the opportunity to get it first. I think only one of them, who's did brag as like a bucket list, is not doing it again. So I think we have 1 room at the time of recording. I'm not sure about the time when this comes out. So snoozebox.co, if you want to check out the Snoozebox and book it, you can there. But yeah, the bucket list guy, a lot of people do rides as a bucket list. They try and do all 50 states, or they try and do things. So they, just come for one ride.
Better hurry up, because they're all going out of business. Right. So,
yeah, Scott actually had he was talking to me about his bucket list, and he had quite a few. He was afraid to call it a bucket list. He just wanted to call it a to-do list. But he had a number of rides on there, which brings up what rides are on you guys' bucket list. If you have a list of rides you want to still go do, what's on there?
We've got a long list.
Yeah, we do. And Fault Line is on there.
Fault Line in Missouri is on there. We've talked about Bran, which is, I'm from Nebraska. I've done it before, but Adam hasn't. The bike ride across Nebraska, bike ride across Kansas. The one down in Louisiana.
Zydeco.
Yeah.
Zydeco. Mm-hmm. The Finger Lakes ride. I don't remember what that's called. Do you remember, Adam?
Bonton Roulette?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. The one that's around the Finger Lakes. So those are some of them that immediately come to my mind. I don't know if there's other ones that come to yours, Adam. So
yeah. So Michael, he you can tell the friendship goes on, because obviously I'm not going to go hang myself in the garage from him teasing me about being a child. But
thank God. Yeah.
Well, now if he does, it's on video. So
exactly.
That's right. And I control the video, so good luck, buddy. Come see my lawyer. Thank God I don't have a lawyer, but he said that I was a little presumptuous last year. I'm like, we're going back to brag, and he's like, dude, you realize you just committed to brag. But I think what happens is, and this is not because you're on the show and you're a friend. We always say that you do it right. If you come to your ride, I mean, you do it right. I mean, it was started before you. I get that, but at the same time, you've either picked up and either added your flair or continued something that was working and then twisted it to make it work. And I'm talking about just basic essentials for, food and snacks, having the ability to get something, having the ability to go to town to get something to eat at night, having the ability not to be cooped up, not to be out in the middle of nowhere. We did a ride this year, and in Michigan. I've got to be truthful and honest. We were in one of the most beautiful towns, as they say, up north Michigan, and we were so far out of town. It was so sad that there's all these wonderful bars that are right on the water, and not just bar. Even if you just want to go to a restaurant, and have a burger and some fries for riding your bike all day. And we were stuck in the middle of nowhere. So my point is that you do it right. And so I got so excited last year. I'm like, we're going back to brag. And then Michael goes, you realize by doing that, you've just counted us out on the other rides that we said we were going to do. And I'm like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, Adam gets excited. He's like, yeah, we're doing it again. It's like, I get that. And you do a great job. And I think a big part of it is, you always have some type of entertainment in the evening. So there's something to do, because we've been to rides where it's like you sit around in camp and it's like, we always have cigars and bourbon, so that's not a big deal, but everybody else just kind of sits around and, twiddles their thumb or whatever. And then I like the fact that you provide multiple options for camping or for, staying. You've got the snooze box, like we mentioned. You've got outdoor camping, like pretty much everybody offers, but you also offer indoor camping too. So you kind of cater to everybody. So it allows for, kind of any type of rider to come show up. So I think that's
Hotel
great.
riders
But
with black dog luggage. I mean,
yeah,
you know, in the overnight town where we historically get a hotel, and we see the black dog ladies come and loading all the luggage, and we've seen riders left from hotels where they're like, oh, we're supposed to leave our bags right here, and the front desk knows. I mean, so you have an option for everybody, which I think is just huge when you're looking for a ride. So if you're catching this show and you haven't signed up for a ride and you've thought, you know, I've been looking to do a week-long ride. I truly, this will be our fourth year in a row. I wouldn't sign up for. I mean, I'll do anything twice, but I wouldn't do it four times. So, I highly recommend, you and Stephanie and your staff and courtesy, professionalism, amenities, things that are provided. Everything that you would expect to be there. You definitely do it right, and I think
yeah.
that
This would be a good, if you've never ridden a week-long ride before, start here.
yeah, I would agree.
There's a ton of other options and a lot of really good rides out there. But if you've never done one before, this would be the one to get your feet wet in.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And yeah, and just understand that they're not all this. I mean, everyone has its own flavor and its own flair. And the ones that I've mentioned, I've been across Kansas, I've been across Nebraska, I've not been to Zydeco, I've not been to the Finger Lakes. I think we've also got Ohio begrudgingly. Adam has agreed to do that one, but and Tennessee is another one that we want to do. So there's a lot that's on our list, and everyone's going to have its flavor and its different flares, and they're going to have strengths and weaknesses and stuff like that. But if you want one ride, and I'm not saying this just because you're here. If you weren't here, I'd be saying the same thing.
Well, I mean, proof's in the pudding. We've recorded it. So,
exactly.
yeah.
Georgia is the ride to kind of get your feet wet into those week-long rides.
Because
then after that, you're going to have other rides, may not have as many amenities, may not, be as well organized, but this is a good one for a starter ride.
I mean, even for things that people are thinking about, like bus rides, I mean, you offer, shuttle. I mean, it's something I didn't even realize. It's just because I don't think this way, but you offer a shuttle every night to the town before. So think about that. If you would like to have your vehicle travel with you, you literally could ride, catch the bus, go get your car, and bring the car with you every night. And so that's an option. Now, Michael, you and I never think about that because we
We're always flying,
we fly in, and but then you offer shuttles from start to end to start. And so I think that's why I think when I say you do it right, because we've done some other rides, and I think that's what makes us so frustrated on those routes. We're like, man, they really ought to sit down with Franklin because, I'm not saying it because you're here either. I mean,
the Michigan ride that we did recently, this last year, there was really no shuttles into town. And, a couple of the towns we were close enough to be able to walk. But some of them, it was like, it's 6 miles back to town or something like that. And, who wants to get on their bike after 80 miles and ride another 6 miles in and 6 miles back and that kind of thing. So it's just little things that you notice after you've been to really good organized rides. And I'll say I've done Nebraska before. I haven't done it in several years, but when I did it, Nebraska was very organized and they had a lot of community participation. It was kind of like I've told you this, Adam, there was kind of a RAGBRAI on a much smaller basis because all the communities were in it and people are out on their, driveways waving at you and stuff like this. And the communities really got into it. Very well organized, very well supported. So there's other rides out there that have that, but yours just seems to really pull it all together. So
I appreciate that. And it's good. That's why I love listening to the shows because, we do all these things and you talk to people, but it's good to hear you guys have honest conversations with other people about different aspects of the ride that you enjoy or what you don't like or what's important or, what you'd like to see or what you don't like. Because it's hard to get that kind of candid feedback from people. So that's why I really enjoy listening to the show. Because oftentimes I live behind the curtain and doing things to pull everything together, obviously, but it's good to see something from the participant facing view or the guest facing view of what you guys really enjoy.
And that's something we've always talked about, Adam and I, is like being honest. We we don't want to mislead any of the people who listen to us or things like that. And we want to be honest. So, I mean, we'll tell you about it. I mean, there's one ride that we don't talk about, just because not a good ride, not a safe ride. We don't even want to bring it up. If there's been people come up and ask us about it, we'll tell them about it, but we don't in any way, shape, or form promote it on here from a safety standpoint. So, we're honest in our evaluation, whether you're on the show or not. So, yeah.
That ride happens to be in Central Time, just to be clear. So
Central Time had nothing to do with it, my friend.
Yeah.
Jeez.
No, we got to get together and do a ride together one day. So obviously can't ride Bragg and when Bragg's going on, obviously, but yeah, we need to.
That would be awesome. We definitely need to figure one out and do it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The other thing that you do is the team atmosphere, and I think that's huge.
Mm-hmm. Because,
and for those of you who do not know, Franklin, your sales motto is that if a team has 10 or more, then you let them design a jersey and have a team. And I think that's huge. I mean, not because, sure, I mean, Cycling Men of Leisure obviously has done it a couple of years in a row. You've been so gracious to us and we love it and it's been fun. But from the aspect of other rides that we've done, there hasn't been that team atmosphere, and you can see the absenteeism of it. I mean, there's not that camaraderie of joining up or having that conversation, and why they may bring their own few guys or whatever, but that's definitely been absent, and you can definitely see that. So I think that you do that is really cool, and I think that helps out with those who Team Paparazzi who I see every year, and some of the super stragglers and Margaret and her team, and so I mean these are people we made friends with. Now I have to say, Cycling Men and Women of Leisure have been the largest last couple of years. Let's make it a third, but it is awesome to see the team atmosphere. I think that's great.
That's a good point, because we've had other ride directors come to us and talk to us about, hey, what do you think about this ride and things that we participated in? And that is a big thing that we've came up almost in every single time we've talked about it, is you need to create that team atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because that is so missing in so many rides. And so that's came up numerous discussions about, we've used you as an example that creating that team environment, that team atmosphere really drives kind of a really great feel about the ride.
And I can take you back to exactly where I was. We left Peaches to Beaches 2022, and we got to the first rest stop. And I'll never forget, it was a church, and it had rows of snacks inside the church. And I saw these people, and they all had the same jersey on. And the jersey in the back had the state of Georgia. I now know it probably had Northside Hospital. I now know it probably had Bragg on it. I now know that there were some requirements there. But I remember saying, oh my gosh, that's cool. Where'd you guys get that? And they're like, well, Franklin bought it for us. And I'm like, he did? I'm like, okay. And at first, no one said, oh, you have to have 10 or more. Then we got to the next rest stop, and there was another team. I actually think the team was Franklin's Nightmare. And I said, how did you guys get that? And they're like, oh, if you have 10 or more, you get your own. And I remember looking at Michael going, wouldn't it be cool next year if we could get 10 or more? And we surpassed that. We made it to 25, and then we made it to 37, and this year we need to do more. So, but yes, I thought that I just want to let you know that's where, from a rider who just organically found your ride. We had seen you at Bragg Bride. For those who don't know, the first time that I saw the tent, the biggest marketing device that you have, I think, is the big red tent. And then Michael and I were looking at other rides, and that's how we came upon Bragg to begin with. So
right, and that I stole it from RAGBRAI. Like the whole RAGBRAI is big on teams. If you've never been to RAGBRAI or done RAGBRAI, and that. I don't know how that started at RAGBRAI. I think it was, probably more organically, but teams there. I stole a lot of things from RAGBRAI. Actually, you learn from people that do well. The first time when I was taking over Bragg, I wanted to go, and I went and did a bunch of other cross state rides. I did RAGBRAI, and I saw they had all these school buses, and I thought to myself, "Oh man, that'd be so cool." These guys aren't setting up their tent every night; they're just sleeping in the school bus. And it looks cool, and it's painted. It'd be, It's probably extraordinarily expensive. So I went and talked to one of the teams. I was like, "Oh man, your bus is so awesome!" I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. What did you pay for it?" He was like, "I think I paid $2,500 for this bus." And I was like, "Come again?" He was like, "Hey, it was like $2,500." I was like, "Okay." So like, I think the next week I bought a bus. So we went and we bought a bus, we painted it for Bragg and made it all cool and started taking teams up to Ragbri. And then, the thing I saw at Ragbri that Bragg was kind of missing was that team atmosphere that you guys talk about all the time. And I think, to me, the most special thing about Bragg is the community, right? My mom's done Bragg, 28 years now or something crazy. And, she calls it summer camp for adults, where she goes and she has what she calls her Bragg friends. Where it's people that, you may keep up with on Facebook or whatever throughout the year, but, that week when they're on Bragg, they ride together, they hang out together. It's like they never skipped a beat, in their friendship, and it's her Bragg friends, and, they go and do fun stuff other times too, but that's where they met. That's where they have their community. That's where they come back to. So I really wanted to try to foster and deepen the connections people have, and deepen that sense of community. And I thought teams was a good way to do that. But I'm all ears if you guys have any other ways to really amplify the community aspect of it, because to me, that's what's so special. I mean, anybody can put together a good ride and have a band and rest stops and shuttles and blah, blah, blah. But it's really, when I walk in and I, look over the crowd and I see people hanging out and talking to each other and, "Oh, I haven't seen you forever. What's going on?" That to me is what lights me up and makes it all worth it for me is the community that we create. So I think teams is one good way we do that, and I'd love to hear any other ideas you guys have about creating that atmosphere and fostering that atmosphere of community.
I can just name some names off the top of my head, like Mike and Vic and Margaret and Mandy and like getting off the bus last year. I hadn't seen those people in a year, and we were waiting in line to check in at Oglethorpe, and people are just coming up to us like celebrities. "Hey, how you been? How you been? How you been?" I mean, there's no better way of feeling like $1 million by seeing some of the people that you've seen before, and so I think your mom would be spot on. I mean, kudos to her for saying summer camp. But that's a perfect description. So
kind of is.
Yeah, kind of is. So Big Bragg 2025. We're going from Rome to Cartersville to Jasper to Dawsonville to Clarksville to Toka to Hartwell. If you're thinking about signing up, you can save $50 tonight before the prices go up before midnight. I know you're listening. I know you're paying attention. And so go www.brag.org, click on the Big Bragg 2025, sign up. Little self plug here. There's a team name there. Put Cycling Men of Leisure.
That's right.
And you'll be on our team. And
I interrupt for just a minute.
Please.
This year for the team, we are planning a fun event in addition to the ride. During the ride, if we're able to pull it off, we're going to have a fun little event for the team. So just if you want to have a little extra good time, put us down, and we're planning on an extra special event for the team. So
now, are you guys going to do Cycling Women of Leisure and Cycling Men of Leisure?
Well, this is being recorded, so I mean, if you want us to edit it out later, we can. But on the
that is our goal.
That is our goal. Yeah, I mean, things kind of fell apart last year, where we were supposed to have 9 ladies, and then one of the ladies unfortunately got injured right before coming, and then a friend of hers decided not to come. So I think we ended up having 6 ladies, I believe. And so, yes, we would love to support the ladies, and you have been great to us, as well as Primal and your previous vendor for jerseys, and we've been able to do both. So if we can, yes, we would love to have the ladies do that. But again, if you want me to edit that out, I will. So
that's up to you guys.
So it can be if you're a lady and would like to join the Cycling Women of Leisure, certainly put that down at team as well. We typically represent both of them. So
last year, which was really cool, the team jersey, the difference was the men had maroon with the men's logo, and then our artist and good friend Brian Fritz, BrianLeeFritz.com, he's got some great cycling portraits. If you're looking to have a portrait of your bicycle, you can actually send a picture of your bicycle to him, and you get a really beautiful artist drawing of course, for a fee, but he designed our logo, and he actually he helped us with the ladies logo, and so we have both, and we actually have two Facebook pages, men and ladies, and got a lot of great people out there. I know Melanie's not going to join us this year. Her and her husband Keith are going to do something different, but she was on the team, and then we've got friends from Kentucky who were on the ladies team, and I'm hoping that they come back. I mean, come on, Mandy, your husband just retired, so you can come on.
You got time.
You got time. That's right. And so, and the original Cycling Mona Leisure Annette from Oregon, we'd love to see her if she wants. I think she's doing something else this year.
I think she is too.
Annette, you're welcome to join again. So we've got, and that community for us. One of the things that was really difficult for this gentleman we met in Michigan, he kept saying, "How is your team all over the country?" And we recently sent out postcards to the team, and we saw our team on a map for the first time. You and I had never geoplotted it before, and so the vendor that we used to send out the postcards actually, had like the delta, the plane flies here, and we got to see wherever the team was from. I mean, we're talking Quebec, Canada, Toronto, Oregon, Washington, Georgia, Florida, Kansas, Michigan. I'm missing something.
It was all over, yeah. It was cool.
Wisconsin. So it was just really cool to see where the whole team from. But this guy in Michigan who we rode with, he's like, "Well, how do you guys all get together?" I'm like, "Well, it's easy. We go to Georgia."
Right.
So, but yeah, it's a great group of people we've met, and it's a wonderful homecoming to come back to. So highly looking forward to it. So
I do like Army. Michael called it an Army one time. Cycling Men of Leisure Army or Nation.
That's
Nation
right.
Army. But you
Nation,
guys have the
Army,
community, so yeah.
Yeah. A little less aggressive than
Yeah.
But remember, it's for women too. I mean,
that's right. It is.
We've got multiple logos here, so we definitely have all kinds of items. So
Nice.
And I am impressed you still have your bottle of bourbon. In fact, I think you've got 2 bottles of bourbon.
Yeah,
we whiskey.
I do. We still. We did some solid work. I mean, it's not we're not going to try and finish the thing.
No.
So,
but I think you have 2 bottles that have our name on it too.
I do. I'm sorry. Yes. We have the. This is 2024, and then we've got 2023 in the cabinet.
Yeah.
I also have. We do another thing we stole from Ragbri. We don't steal everything from them, but we do steal a lot. Was their custom beer. So we did a custom beer 2023 and 2024. So I have 2 6-packs of those that I'll keep forever, along with these whiskeys here. So it's nice to remember.
Well, just so everybody understands it, if they haven't been there or haven't heard what we've done, is I typically go to a local distillery here that actually distributes all over the place. They distribute in Georgia too, and a couple places in Michigan. And I get bottles that have like Cycling Men of Leisure and then the date on them. And I generally bring like 4 bottles of it with us. And then one night during the week, we have what we call our speakeasy. We get everybody together and anybody else who wants to come, and we just share some whiskey and have a good time listening to music and that type of thing. So that's what we're referring to when we're talking about the Cycling Men of Leisure whiskey. So
definitely had some people who had never had whiskey before, and they're like, "Well, can we just try just a little bit?" And I'm like, "Well, you got to try a little bit. It's part of the initiation of being on the team."
That's right.
So last year we sat up on that hill and listened to some music, and we had because of Armando's spill, we had our team split from the bottom of the hill and the top of the hill. So
that's right. And that was actually the same day we interviewed you, Franklin, on site, and we also interviewed John.
Yeah.
Your medic.
The medic, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was a great interview talking about what he does and that type of thing during the week of Bragg.
And talk about a really neat little interview with John. He first said, "Well, what do you guys want me to talk about?" We're like, "Just tell us a little bit about you." And he sits down and hits the post, so to speak. Like, it was perfect. He was like, "Well, I'm not sure, but okay, let's give her a whirl." We hit record, and it was like,
he just,
dude, that was like perfect. So
he's an amazing guy. He's he's volunteered for umpteen million years, and he's got a Harley that he rides up and down the route because you can get places faster on a motorcycle than you can. He's got a big kit and big med kit that he carries, and he's just an amazing guy. Truly a wonderful human being. Can't thank him enough for coming on the ride every year.
I'll tell you what, I can give a story if you're out there and you're not sure about, how that works. But one of the things that I like is, Franklin, you do give me your cell phone number, and our friend Virginia was having that medical experience, and I was able to call you, and you were able to call John, and he was able to get there fast on his motorcycle and help her out. And so that is nice to have that. And he was there within. We heard the motorcycle right away, so that's definitely he's definitely got a huge heart and helps out. So,
yeah.
Well, cool. Well, Franklin, we really appreciate you doing this route release. If you are thinking about a ride, definitely Big Brag 2025. Check out some of his other rides. If you're looking to do some overseas. Mexico doesn't sound so bad either, by the way. That would be very nice. I know your winter rides are we've heard lots of people talk about those. So,
and by the way, your international rides are on our list. We're going to make it to one of them one of these days. So definitely got to do that.
Bring your spouse. It's e-bike, very flat, short miles, very spouse friendly.
I think if I went somewhere like that and didn't bring my spouse,
you may not have a spouse.
Yeah, I don't think a bouquet of flowers from FTD is gonna fix that problem. So
I think if I yell at an ice cream shop in the middle of Georgia, it's Michael's anniversary,
it would have to be something huge like that. So
yeah. Well, I had a few cocktails, a few whiskeys that night, so
it worked out beautiful, man.
Brag your anniversary every year, right?
Won't be this year, but it has been the last couple of years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you're doing it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
But we were at what town was that? The State Fair?
Perry. Yeah.
Perry. We were in Perry, and that was on the day of our anniversary. And I really had to do some talking to is it okay? And I didn't feel good about it. And I took a sign that said Happy Anniversary Chas, and I took every stop, I'd take a picture with me and the sign and put together this big, long, all these pictures, of me doing that. And we were sitting there on the anniversary. We're in this malt shop, and he stands up and he goes, "Everybody, I need your help." It's it's his anniversary, and he came here recycling, and I need everybody to say at the count of 3, "Happy Anniversary, Chastity." And so he got the whole entire malt shop to yell, "Happy Anniversary, Chastity." And I recorded it, and then I sent it to her, and I get to go on rides now during my anniversary with no problem.
Nice.
Thank you, Adam.
And tonight he called me a child.
Sometimes that works to my advantage. I won't deny that. So,
no, she was touched. I mean, she wrote me afterwards, and she's like, "Oh, that's great." But we right before we got on the bus, our friend Matt helped us. We went to a Hobby Lobby, and you went in and got the board,
got the supplies to make the board.
Makes the adventures fun. I mean, those are the kind of stories that you can tell, and people that you meet along the way. That's why we do this. So definitely highly looking forward to it. So once again, Rome, Georgia, Cartersville, Jasper, Overnight Town, Dawsonsville, Cartersville, Toca, and
Clarksville.
And
Clarksville, sorry.
Toccoa.
Yeah, like that one time I said Brazelton.
Brazelton.
That dirt farmer, by golly.
Who married up and got the name.
That's
right.
Got
the town named after him. So
there you go.
So the only thing we haven't touched on, and then I'm going to let you close it out, Franklin, is do you want to talk about your Bragg Light and with this overnight town and maybe somebody can't join for the whole week? There's some options there, right?
Yeah. So if you can't do the whole week, you can ride the first 3 days or the last 3 days, and we make it real easy. So we have a shuttle that'll take you back to your start, whether you ride the first 3 days or the last 3 days. So that's called Bragg Light, any 3 consecutive days. Or if you just want to come and do 1 day, say you live in one of these towns and you just want to ride 1 day to or from your town, we have daily shuttles that'll take you back just 1 day. So you got options if you don't want to do the whole week.
And I just have to add one thing to that because I felt bad last year. I have some people write me, if you are not doing the full week, you do not qualify for the free jersey. And so I just want to be clear about that because I had some people say, hey, I signed up for your team. So if you're looking to get that free jersey and that's something that you find as a good selling point for yourself, to be able to get that as a full week registration.
And an adult, full week adult.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
But you can still be part of our team even if you're just going for 3 days.
Yeah,
that's right.
You still drink whiskey and cigars. Again, probably adult, but
Yeah.
Probably should be.
Well, we got one young man that might join us who,
right.
Fair enough.
Well, Franklin, we're gonna let you close it out. Anything else that you would like to add?
I mean, the only thing I can say is that it's a great day
for a bike
ride.
It will be. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Frank.
No worries. Thank you, guys.